الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات والله بما تعملون خبير.
وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. After praising Allah Ta'ala for that which He has conferred upon us from favors and blessings that cannot be counted or enumerated, we would like to extend our greetings, salutations, and our gratitude as well to our brothers there in Sweden for extending their invitation to speak with you all and benefit from some words of our beloved Prophet alayhi salatu salam on this evening. And that which we have selected is the statement of the Prophet alayhi salatu salam, which has come on the authority of Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah radiallahu anhu, who said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Inna Allah azza wa jal kariha lakum thalathan. Indeed, Allah, the mighty and majestic, hates for you things. Indeed, Allah, the mighty and majestic, hates for you three things. And then he mentioned these three things. Qil wa qal. Firstly, it was said and he said, or as we say here in America, he said, she said. Wa kathratu as-su'al. The second of those things that Allah hates for us is an abundance of asking. Wa ida'a al-mal. The third of them is squandering wealth. In this narration, ayyuhal ikhwa wa akhawat, there are a number of fawaid. Amongst them, first and foremost, the first fa'ida, al-fa'ida al-ula, al-nahyu an qili wa qal, is the prohibition of qil and qal. A prohibition of qil and qal. And what is intended by the prohibition of qil wa qal is that it is impermissible, it is haram for us to engage or over-engage in speech regarding the affairs of people and what is going on with them. Did you hear about so-and-so? Have you heard about such and such? What she is doing, what he is doing, and the likes of this. And speaking about things regarding the affairs that are of no benefit and of no concern to you whatsoever. Because an abundance of speaking about the likes of these matters, they contain within them mafasid adida, a number of mafasid, a number of any detriments, if you will, upon the one who does it and upon the people in general. And from these mafasid is that qeel waqal, an abundance of that, it will be amongst the means for the commission of a major sin. And that major sin is lying. And this is due to the fact that when you speak abundantly regarding the people's affairs, as soon as something touches your ear, you narrate it to others, which you find some of the people do. Some of the people, and as soon as something comes to them, they rush to go narrate it and speak about it to others. Then the individual who does this, the Messenger of Allah alayhi salam, has said that this person is a liar. And what has come on the authority of Hafs ibn Asim, that he said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Kafa bil mar'i kadiban, it is a sufficient amount of lie for a person. And yahdath bi kulli ma sami'a, that he narrates everything that he hears. When you hear the likes of these statements in the narration of our beloved Prophet alayhi wasallam, Kafa bil mar'i kada, it is a sufficient amount of such and such for a person. The ulama have stated that it means that if you didn't do anything else but that, that would suffice you from all other similar actions. So if you told no other lies, if you were honest in your everyday dealings, if you are honest in your speech to your spouse, to your children, to your co-workers, so on and so forth. However, you had this as a characteristic, that you narrate everything that comes to you, this is sufficient to make you a liar. You don't have to do anything else. So this is from the corruptions of qil wa qal. It has come on the authority of Sahal al-Tustari, rahimahullah, that he said, Man takallama fima la ya'ni, hurima sidqa. that whoever speaks about that which is of no concern to him or her, this person will be deprived of truthfulness. They will be deprived of truthfulness. Such a person is not truthful. Likewise, from the mafasid and detriments of qeel and qal is that the one who does this is nearly never able to save himself from backbiting. It's hard to do. Very difficult to speak about the affairs of the people and not fall into backbiting them, especially when you know and understand what the definition of backbiting is. As the Messenger of Allah alayhi said, "Atadruna mal ghiba, do you know what backbiting is?" The companion said, Allah and His Messenger know best. He said, "Dhikruka akhaka bima yakrah." It is mentioning your brother with that which he would dislike. Even if it is true, it is backbiting. And this, no doubt, is a major sin. So this is from the detriment as well of al-qeel wa qal. Likewise, from the detriment of qeel and qal is that the one who does so, who spreads an abundance of this, he said and she said, it was said and they said, and the likes of this individual in himself is from the means or from the reasons why fitan occurs between people. And he chases people away from one another. I mean, he causes corruption between the people, and he makes people boycott each other. He makes people hate each other, and he causes disputes and fitan between them. Because without doubt, people hate those who speak about them. People hate those and dislike individuals who speak about them. Think how you feel when you hear that someone has been talking about you and have been talking about your private affairs. You no doubt have an aversion in your heart for that person. This is from the detriment of qeel and qal. And likewise, from these detriments is that qeel and qal, it is a means of busying oneself by way of those things that are not beneficial, or they harm you from and hinder you from engaging in those things that are beneficial, due to what has come on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Min husn al-Islami mar," that from the excellence of a person's Islam is that he leaves alone what does not concern him. From the excellence of a person's Islam is that he leaves alone what does not concern him. So therefore, if from the excellence and the goodness of a person's Islam that he leaves alone what does not concern him, then no doubt when you find yourself given to those things that are of no concern to you, then this is an indication and a sign that your Islam is poor. That your Islam, meaning your practice of Islam, is poor. Likewise, for the benefits that are contained in this narration, it is the al-fa'ida al-thaniya, the second fa'ida, is the prohibition of kathratu as-su'al, the prohibition of an abundance of asking. Uh, what enters into this prohibition of an abundance of asking is kathratu su'al al-nasi al-mal wa umur al-dunya min ghayri hajatin wala durura. Is an abundance of asking the people for money. An abundance of asking the people for money and affairs of the dunya without there being a need to do so, without there being a necessity for that. You find some individuals, they go about begging of the people, walking up to their cars, holding signs to their window, and holding their head out, constantly begging for money and begging the people of their wealth. Some of the people may have a necessity and a need for this, but when it is done without there being a need and without it being a necessity, then this is what enters into this narration. Some of the people, they simply ask istiktaran. They ask because they're trying to amass and gather up wealth at the expense of the people. And the individual who does this will come forth on the day of judgment having lacerations upon their faces. As has come on the authority of Abdullah bin Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, who said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, ما يزال الرجل يسأل الناس حتى يأتي يوم القيامة ليس في وجهه مزع لحم. That whoever asks the people, or that a man continues begging and asking of the people until he comes forth on the day of judgment, having no flesh upon his face. It is likewise come, Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that he said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لأن يحتزم أحدكم حزمة حطب فيحملها على ظهره فيبيعها خير له من أن يسأل رجلا يطيعه أو يمنعه. That a person should strap firewood to his back, and then he goes about carrying that firewood until he sells it. This is better for him than that he should ask of another man, and either that person will give him or he will withhold from him. Meaning the person will either give you, seeking the good pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, or they won't give you, and perhaps they have it and just don't want to give it to you. And yet you've lowered yourself and you've humbled yourself before this individual who either he'll give you or won't give you at his own discretion. It's better for you to go and work and to earn a living for yourself and for your family than that you should have a need upon people who are annoyed by you asking them. What enters into this prohibition of kathratu su'ali either is that a person frequently asks about masail fiqhiyya, about fiqh issues, but they don't ask from the bab of talab al-ilm. They're not seeking knowledge. As from the abwab of seeking knowledge is the good question. A person asking a good question that they are in need of. But rather the person asks tanattu'an. They ask from the standpoint of tanattu', meaning being pig-headed. They're simply being pig-headed and trying to irritate people. أو تكلفا فيما لم يحصل, or asking the likes of these hypothetical questions. Asking the likes of these hypothetical questions. The ulama, in their books on the subject matter of seeking knowledge and its etiquettes, they speak about the etiquettes of asking questions and how a person should ask a question that they are actually and genuinely in need of. They don't ask hypothetical questions. The first thing that pops into their head, they want to ask about it. No. But rather, if they are actually in need of a question, or they're studying a particular subject matter, and they need it to be clarified to them so that they understand it in a proper way, then they ask the question regarding it. Now they ask a question regarding it. But what you find from some of the people, that as soon as a thought pops into their mind, they pick up the phone and they call the students of knowledge. Or they pick up the phone and they call the ulama. And they burden them and they bother them and they break up their day with frivolous questions. Now, or they ask questions simply trying to stump the students of knowledge and to prove that they know something which they don't know. Or imtihan lahum, trying to test them. Now, or they ask questions simply trying to make them slip. The Salaf as-Salih, from the Sahaba and other than them, they would detest that a person should ask a question from this angle. And they would criticize the one who does so. And they would not respond to his question. And the lack of the response was an uquba lahum. Them not answering the question would be a means of punishing them, meaning punishing the questioner for what they've done, of asking these frivolous questions. It is authentically reported from Masruq rahimahullah that he said, Kuntu amshi ma'a Ubay ibn Ka'b. On one occasion, I was walking along with Ubay ibn Ka'b. May Allah be pleased with him. And a young man walked up and said, Ma taqulu ya Ammah kada wa kada. What do you say, O Ammah, regarding such and such and so and so? Qala, he said in response, Ubay ibn Ka'b, he said in response, Ya ibn akhi, Akana hada? He said, oh, my nephew, is this something which actually has occurred? Qala la. He said, no. Qala, so Ubay ibn Ka'b said, fa'afina hatta yakun. Then leave me alone until it happens. Leave me alone until it happens. So just asking questions simply because a thought popped into your mind, and you say, okay, well, let me pick up the phone and call such and such. He would know and ask this question. And from this angle, it's something which should be stayed away from. Likewise, what enters into the prohibition of kathratu su'al أن يكثر من السؤال عما لا يعني من أحوال الناس وأقوالهم وأفعالهم. That a person frequently asks about that which is of no concern to him or her from the affairs of the people and their statements and their actions. Again, the qualifying statement is that which is of no concern. Because if it is regarding your deen and who those who the ulama have warned against, for example, then it is incumbent upon you to know these things so that you can steer clear and safeguard your religion. But simply asking just to be in the know, asking just because you want to know, you want to be nosy, then this is something which enters into that prohibition of asking. Now, asking about what has occurred between people and the likes of this. Hasan al-Basri, alayhi rahmatullah, he said, min alamati i'radillah an al-abdi an yaj'ala shughlahu fima la ya'ni. They're from the signs that Allah has abandoned a person is that he busies that person with that which is of no concern to him. Luqman al-Hakim was asked, Ay amalak aw thaqahu fi nafsik. Which action do you have that you feel the firmest about within your soul? Luqman, he said, Tarku ma la ya'nini. That I mind my business. I mind my business. So no doubt this is something which the Muslim should aspire to. The third and final benefit that has come in this narration, al-fa'ida الثالثة is النهي عن إضاعة المال. It's the prohibition of squandering one's wealth. What enters into the squandering of one's wealth, إنفاقه في غير حقه ومحله. Is that you spend that wealth in ways that are inappropriate. Spending that wealth in ways that are inappropriate. كالإسراف فيه, like wasting it, extravagance in wealth. ash-Shura, or that you buy muharramat, you buy things that are impermissible and haram with your money. You utilize your money to buy things that are haram. Or, or you spend that money upon sin and transgression. Or you utilize that wealth and you waste that wealth in play and amusement and following your desires. As Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He has said within His book, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. He said, eat and drink, meaning buy food, buy drinks, buy those things that you need. وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. But don't be extravagant in doing so. Don't be extravagant in doing so. Why? إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Indeed, Allah does not like those who are extravagant. It has come on the authority of Amr ibn Shu'ayb, who reported from his father, from his grandfather. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Kulu washrabu wa tasaddaqu walbisu fi ghayri makhilatan wala sarfin. Inna Allah yuhibbu an tara ni'matahu ala abdihi." Then he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, eat and drink, meaning buy your foods, buy your drinks, wa tasaddaqu, give sadaqah with your wealth, walbisu, and buy clothing with your wealth, fi ghayri makhilatin, without being such that you are boastful and braggadocious regarding those clothes that you buy. Naam, wala sarf, nor be extravagant in that which you buy. For indeed Allah loves to see the effect of His blessings upon His servants. If Allah has favored you with wealth, you don't have to walk around with tattered and torn clothing. Rather, you can have nice things. There's nothing at all wrong with having nice clothing, nice shoes, and nice things. But what we censor is al-israf, extravagance. What we censor is braggadociousness regarding what you do have and the likes of this. Likewise, what enters into the wasting of wealth, إحمال الإنسان ما يملكه من حيوان, that a person has wealth, but they are negligent regarding those things that he is responsible for. You're negligent regarding the things that so you don't spend the wealth taking care of those things that you were responsible for taking care of, such as animals. You may have pets. You don't feed your pets and the likes of this, but you have the money to do so. Or morakabin, or your whatever you ride, your vehicle. You don't take care of your vehicle. You don't maintain it until it just breaks down and the likes of this. Or ajhizatin, perhaps you have devices rather. You have phones, you have computers and the likes of this, and you don't take care of them. You don't take care of them. Or other than that. مما يحتاج إلى رعاية, from those things that that you are required to take care of, and those things that you are required to protect and to maintain. Till those things, due to you not taking care of them, they are subject to being lost or broken and the likes of this. And you end up wasting money. Or the pets that you have, or the children that you have, they go hungry and they don't eat. What enters into the wasting of wealth as well, إعطاء لناقصي العقول, giving your wealth to those who are deficient in intellect. Giving your wealth to those who are deficient in intellect, meaning they don't have the mental capacity to realize what they have in their hands and to take care of it and to use it wisely, such as small children, and likewise sufaha, people who are foolish, who don't have all of the intellect, or they may have mental issues and the likes of this, or majaneen, and the likes of them. And so you give your wealth to them, and thus they waste that wealth and that which is either not permissible, or they lose it and they squander it. Now, Allah Ta'ala, He has made wealth to be an amana. It's an amana with us, and He has given it to us in order that we can establish that which is incumbent upon us to establish, and that you can utilize it for your benefit in this life as well as the hereafter. And so, the completion of that benefit is that you utilize that wealth and that which Allah Ta'ala has created it for, from those things that are beneficial in this life as well as the hereafter. As Allah Ta'ala has said within His book, وَلَا تُؤْتُوا السُّفَهَاءَ أَمْوَالَكُمْ الَّتِي جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ قِيَامًا وَارْزُقُوهُمْ فِيهَا. He says, and do not give your wealth to the sufaha, to the foolish people, those that wealth that Allah Ta'ala has made for you, قِيَامًا وَارْزُقُوهُمْ فِيهَا وَاكْسُوهُمْ, but you use that wealth to provide for them and to clothe them. وَقُولُوا لَهُمْ قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا, and say to them a goodly statement. So those people who are deficient in their intellect, who may need things, then you get what they need for them. Don't just give them wealth. Don't just give them money and expect them to do the right thing with it. But rather you take care of what it is that they are in need of and seek the help of Allah Ta'ala in doing so. These are some of the benefits that are contained in this short narration from the Messenger of Allah alayhi as-salatu salam, as he was given Jawami al-Kalam wa Fasil al-Khitab. He was given the ability to make short and concise statements that were profound in their meanings and implications. So we are able to extract the light of these benefits, and perhaps there are more. Allah Ta'ala knows best. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.